Here is how it sounded. We played this on Devil Radio 92.7 right here in Madison. We played the jury verdict coming down, being read by the clerk. Let's play it for the folks. This will be cut 1 and then followed shortly thereafter by cut number 2, the jury in the Rittenhouse trial in Kenosha. Here's the verdict, cut 1.
As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
As to the final 2 charges, you get the point, but let's play it for the people. Cut 2, please, Luke.
As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Now, Luke and I...
Jury, are these your unanimous verdicts?
It was. We broadcast this live, and Luke and I watched this live together. We watched the verdict. And I don't remember anticipating a verdict this much since OJ. I mean, really, I was a young camera guy working for ABC at the time, and I was at some big luncheon. Apparently, some notable had come to our little town. I was broadcasting out of La Crosse, Wisconsin at that time. And as it would happen, the OJ verdict was coming down, and they put it on the loudspeakers at this luncheon. And so I got a table full of people eating rubber chicken. And I just remember the looks, the jaws dropping, the reaction of people's faces. And, it was just me and Luke, that I could see in real time. But I can tell you the defendant, well, by the time they had read the third not guilty, Rittenhouse was quivering. And by the time the fourth one, I mean, the guy was ready to burst. And by the fifth one, he fell and they put him in a seat immediately. And he was obviously emotional. And, he didn't burst into the same sort of histrionics as he did when he was on the stand. But it was clear, you couldn't fake the tremor, the shaking in his arms. And his attorney, I'm not a lip reader, but he, was telling him breathe. And Rittenhouse was given some water, and he sat there for a bit. And the judge did turn around, Judge Bruce Schrader. And the judge, he's been the Lance Ito of this affair. Schrader turned to the jury, and here is what he had to say. Luke, we're going to need your help. Cut 5, please.
You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive. And the forgotten 6 over here who had a very difficult job of keeping from discussing the case during the time that they were sequestered as well. All of you, I couldn't have asked for a better jury to work with.
Good jury, bad verdict. Probably the proper verdict under the circumstance. The law in the state of Wisconsin, and Luke, thanks for having me join you on Dueling Tangents. As I stated on your show, the law in the state of Wisconsin makes the burden of proof so overwhelming for a prosecutor in a case of self-defense. And this was perhaps a burden that was never going to be reached or cleared. You're never going to clear the reasonable doubt threshold beyond a reasonable doubt threshold when the events of this what perceived to be as a double murder, but apparently a justified shooting, they were so murky. And the motives and whether or not, this Rosenbaum, the first, what I would call a victim, he's now dead, Rosenbaum, whether or not he actually threatened Rittenhouse. Well, Rittenhouse testified he did, but there was videotape all over the place, and it never captured whether or not that happened. And the odd behavior of the judge, whether it was chastising the prosecutor or, allowing the defendant to eliminate the alternative through like a bingo like lottery in the courtroom. It was a strange trial, and it's perhaps a strange result. It's still daylight here in the state of Wisconsin, but it's like 3:12 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be dark in like an hour and a half. And I'm wondering, because this cannot feel like justice. It doesn't feel like justice to me. I mean, I understand I understand. I get the ruling. I don't like the ruling. I get the ruling. But it certainly doesn't feel like justice.